was riding in a vehicle with one associate at the time. They were driving in an isolated area, and the U.S. military is not aware of any civilian casualties in the strike. David, how surprised are you that the United States was able to find the alleged bomber so quickly?
I'm not that surprised. The United States has extraordinary resources. I think one of the things we might want to take from this is that some of the criticism that we were hearing 2 weeks ago about the nature of this pullout is just not true. One of the kinds of criticism was we would not have intelligence assets and be able to control terrorist threats. Well, that was disproven within 24 hours from this attack. We've also, we were also told the United States was going to sort of fall back in the view of the world. But in the course of the past 2 weeks, we've overseen one of the biggest logistical achievements of any modern military ever. I think by the time we get to the deadline, we might have airlifted 150,000 people out of Afghanistan. That was also something we were told was not going to be possible. In other words, very early on in the evacuation, there were a lot of people essentially crying wolf about what this meant for the United States. But now that we have just 2 weeks of perspective, we can see that we remain in a very strong position, able to advance our mission, and the president seems to be exactly right in pursuing this as he had for all the reasons Gene just pointed out.
And, Gene, on the question of the president, I initially was going to ask you, how will this, meaning the bombing and the way the evacuation is going to factor into his presidency. But now that we have this breaking news tonight that the alleged bomber from yesterday's bombing at the airport has been killed by the U.S. military, how does this all play into the crass politics that's facing the president?
In fact, we don't know, and we won't know sometime. I mean, the we can take is that the initial lesson that the conventional wisdom takes, all the conventionally wise who say, "Oh, this is the huge crisis for the Biden administration, will never recover from it," just ignore that. Also ignore the people who might say the opposite, and realize that when big events like this happen, we don't know on day 2 or week 2 or really month 2 what the ultimate impact is going to be. It always takes time. What was the political impact on Franklin Roosevelt of Pearl Harbor? You could imagine Twitter the next day saying this is it, it's over for Roosevelt, and then we all know how that played out. So we're going to have to wait and see. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but it's just simply true.
And you know what, Gene, that is actually good advice for all of us in this profession and also for the American people. Wait and see. Eugene Robinson, David Rothkopf, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Coming up, more breaking news. New Orleans hospitals are already at their breaking point with the Delta surge. Now, they're also facing Hurricane Ida, which could hit Louisiana this weekend as a Category 4 storm or stronger. That's next.